What? What? You're here? Oh, sorry. Sorry. I just got too caught up in things. You're supposed to be on. Really? Yes. Okay. Hey guys, how are you today? Welcome to everybody who is back again to see us, and welcome to all the new people who are just joining us today. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we get started with our African safari, there are a couple of things we do need to go over. First and foremost, we do have some panelists that are on that will help answer questions, because I'm certainly not the smartest around here, so we got some smart bulbs.
We all need help.
We all need help. They're on the computer and also behind the camera here. Nikki and Donna are also here to help out as well.
Hi.
And if you
I don't think they can hear you. They can hear you wave, Donna.
Yeah. Hey everybody.
It's the talking wave now. So if you have any questions for me, put that in the Q&A box. But if I have any questions for you guys, you need to put them in the chat box. And you probably have already noticed that you are muted, just so that we'll be able to actually hear your questions, or see them, in this case, see your question. And we'll be able to give you an answer. Because if you all talk at the same time, it gets really hard to hear. All right, so is everyone ready to go on a African safari and kind of learn about all those different types of animals? Well, some, because we would be here all day if we talked about every single species. So go on ahead and get your safari hats on. There we go. Safari hat. And let's get started. So everything is interconnected. Every animal plays a part in the circle of life. The song that we just played. You know, and through their actions, they end up helping each other, not necessarily on purpose, but they end up helping each other. And so we're going to talk about how that plays a part, especially with the three types of eaters. Kind of like, what are their main food sources? Does anyone know, starting you out with a question, what the three types of eaters are?
The aqua dance. Aqua pause while they type. Rephrase? Like,
yeah.
What does it end in? What's the
So
good hint?
it does end in bore. And I can give you a hint, like one is a meat eater, one's a plant eater.
Oh, yeah. Herbivore.
So I'm looking over at the computer that we have over here, so I can kind of see some of your responses as well.
Herbivores, insectivores, carnivores, omnivores.
Nice.
Yeah, so you got the three main types there. So you got the carnivore, the herbivore, and the omnivore. Now, of course, there's a lot of other bores out there. I know some of you said insectivore, so awesome job on knowing that one. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But they're kind of played into the larger of the three main groups. All right, so let's start with carnivore. Because who doesn't want to start with a carnivore? All right, any idea what our friend right here is? I'm going to put it on the side so you can kind of see.
A bear?
A bear, that's a good thought. So we're thinking about African animals because we're going on an African safari. They don't quite have bears.
Everybody always says dinosaur.
Dinosaur. I mean, dinosaurs are pretty cool. So did someone say a lion?
A lion.
Yep, you are right. It is a
Nice job.
lion. So, Beth, if you could show the picture of a lion.
There he is.
No, not quite Riley here at the zoo though, but still a handsome lion. All right, if you can bring it back to me. All right, so looking at the skull, so these guys are carnivores. Now, what do you think their favorite food is? Any specific type of?
Meat?
Yep, they are meat eaters. Does anyone know or have an idea of what their favorite meat is? One for what animal?
Zebra?
Zebra, they do
Mhm.
definitely like zebra.
Nice.
Gazelles?
Gazelles. Oh yeah, they love
Oh, good,
gazelles.
nice.
Antelope?
Antelope, yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So
Nice.
they definitely would kind of eat whatever they can get a hold of, but those kind of were their favorite foods. And I'm gonna start off when we were talking about it by looking at this big nose right here.
Okay, those boogers in there.
Do you see any treasure in there?
It
hard
looks
to
like
see.
a lot of treasure in there.
So in their noses, this is a really amazing thing. So it's kind of hard to see. I'm gonna like.
Oh, sorry. It's not done. I'm failing.
You can kind of
Nice.
see all those little like bridges and everything inside there. And so inside there, those are all little tissues and everything where all the smells go. And whenever we smell,
I will not fail at my
get-
job again.
and whenever we smell, we get little tiny micro bits of whatever we're smelling into our nose, and it hits that area right there and allows us to know what we're smelling. Well, because these fellows right here have so many spots on there, so much surface area, they can actually smell far away. Now, why do you think they would want to smell far away?
Oh, good
Yeah.
word, Charles.
Ooh, I love that word, Charles. Yeah, so they can smell their prey and find their prey, especially because a lot of lions live in groups together and they have a lot of space to roam. So they have to be able to search out for their food, right? And when they find their food, what are they going to use to kill their food? They got a spear? Can they use a spear or anything? What do they need to use?
Their teeth.
There we
Yep, their
go.
teeth. So these guys have several different types of teeth to help them. So they have those really sharp teeth up front to make the killing blow. But do they have forks and knives to be able to cut it down? Can they use a fork and knife?
No thumbs.
No thumbs, no. So they have these side teeth right here along the sides of their mouth.
Sure.
Spotlight.
Spotlight on 'em.
That helps break down the meat even farther so they can swallow it. And these guys play a part in the circle of life. Carnivores in general do, because if there's too many herbivores eating all the plants, are we going to still have enough plants?
No.
No. So these guys help keep the population in control, which is really cool and amazing. One last thing before we move on to our next carnivore. Where are the eyes found? Are they on the front or the side? The eyes are right here. Are they
Front.
facing the front or are they looking out to the side?
Front?
Yeah, they're up in the front. And that allows them to have what's called
Like a fronty.
fronty. Yes, front. Super front. And that allows them to have what's called binocular vision. So if you've ever used a binocular, it helps you see how far something is. And by having their eyes up in the front, they can figure out and guesstimate how far their prey is. Kind of like when we're playing any sports, anything that we have to throw, we can kind of look ahead at whoever we're throwing it to, and we can kind of think, okay, it's about this far away, and we'll be able to throw it, which is really amazing.
So, Tina wants to know, is that a real skull?
So this is actually a real skull. This was from one that was here that died of old age. And so she lives on to help teach other people about her species. So she's kind of still being an ambassador.
Yes, she is.
So she is amazing.
Still amazing.
Still amazing, yeah. I think I do remember her.
Yeah.
All right. Our next carnivore is this. You want to know what kind of animal this is?
Besides the stuffed one.
Besides a stuffed
Vulture.
one. It is a vulture, yeah. So, of course, vultures are found all over the world. So we even have them here in North Carolina. We have the turkey vulture and the black vulture, which this one right here is a turkey vulture. So you can kind of see what their heads look like a little bit.
I'm failing again. I can't.
It's okay, Nikki.
Yeah.
We believe in you. So vultures are carnivores as well because what do they eat?
Eat dead animals.
They do eat dead
Nice.
animals. So they eat, specifically, it's called carrion. That's their fancy name for it. But they do eat dead stuff, which is a really good thing because did you know, skull over here, that dead decaying stuff has a lot of, shall we say, diseases and germs and all other sorts of stuff on there. And that if it gets into our water systems, it can make us sick. And so vultures are super amazing because in their stomachs, they have stomach acid like we do that helps us break down our food. But their stomach acid is so strong it destroys Ebola, botulism, anthrax, among other diseases as well, which is really amazing. And it keeps the disease rate down.
Yay, vultures.
Yeah, no, yay vultures. So not only are they cleaning up after everybody, they are also keeping us healthy.
I like in Africa, they call them the soap of the savannas.
Ooh, I like that. Soap of the savannas. I'm gonna have to remember that. That's an amazing
Yeah.
phrase there. Yeah, but unfortunately in Africa, well, here in North America, our vultures are doing pretty good. The ones in Africa are not doing as hot. So their populations are going down because of secondary poisoning. So what happened is some of your other carnivores have been getting into farms and killing livestock. And if any of you have family who has farms or know of people who have farms, that's their livelihood. They get reasonably upset over losing their cows. And so they put poison on there to get revenge, I guess is the best way to describe it, over the carnivore that eats it or kills it. And they get sick from the poison and die. And who comes along? Mr. Vulture or Mrs. Vulture. Both Mr. and Mrs. Vulture come down and they eat it. And unfortunately, their stomach acid, as strong as it is, doesn't stop that poison. So Beth, can you show the picture of the really cool tracker? Yeah, so that's an African species of vulture. So it's a whole lot bigger than the ones we have here. And the North Carolina Zoo is doing something really amazing. And we're actually studying the vultures there to figure out where they're going, what they're doing. So maybe we can stop these poisonings from happening. So if you can look at the next picture. Yeah. So scientists in Africa are actually putting little backpacks or little transmitters onto the back of the vulture. So it's kind of tiny compared to the vulture, and it allows them to track where they go, which is really cool because Swoops, for example, actually went well over 1,000 miles, and he had just left home. He just went on his, European vacation, so to speak. Instead of European vacation,
He did a
Africa.
safari.
He did a safari
He did
himself
an
too.
Africa safari.
I like that one, safari. And he traveled so far, but we did not know how far these guys traveled until we put a little backpack on them. And the researchers there have been able to find several areas where the poisonings have occurred and have kind of helped those farmers come up with alternate means of, instead of poisoning, what else they could do to stop their killing of their livestock, which is really cool and amazing. All right, if you can come back to me, please. Thank you. So vultures, super amazing, super cool, and they clean up everything and keep us healthy and happy. So, yay, vultures!
Yeah. So we have a question about vultures.
Of course.
All right, let's see if I can interpret this. If they eat dead stuff
Uh-huh.
and they eat it, and they can't get sick, all right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so they don't get sick. Their stomach acid, which is the stuff in our stomachs, we have it too, that helps break down food in our stomachs to make it easier for us to get all sorts of nutrients from it. They have stomach acid as well, but theirs is so strong. It's actually on par with battery acid, if you've heard of that. And so strong it dissolves pretty much those illnesses. In
Bones,
there
all
too.
kinds of stuff.
Okay.
So another question. So Charles is wanting to know, weren't they detritivores? So you might be confusing earthworms with vultures. So if you can clarify that for him.
So vultures, do eat dead decaying things, but for the most part, it is meat-based dead decaying things.
Right.
They don't eat plants that are dead and decaying. They are pretty much strictly meat eaters in that way. So that's why they do fall into that meat-eating carnivore thing. So it's not just live prey.
Yeah.
That kind of falls into it, and we'll talk a little bit more when we talk about omnivores as well. Because meat is pretty much anything that is
dead or alive.
Dead or alive, pretty much. Any
animal that is dead or alive.
like the animal that is dead or alive.
So, so I'm just gonna read it. So, detritus basically means dead plants. So that's where earthworms are a little bit different because they're eating dead plants. The vultures are eating dead animals. So it's a little bit different. But good that you knew the word detritivore,
I love
right?
that you probably know more of the words than me. So I'm just gonna.
Nice. Do we know what a vulture's wingspan is?
It depends on which vultures. Some of the ones that we have around here have a wingspan probably about.
Oh, I would go with the turkey vulture, at least a 6-foot wingspan.
6 foot, yeah.
The largest vulture is the Andean condor, and they have up to a 10-foot wingspan. Huge.
Oh yeah, so that's way bigger than most of us. So.
Yes.
So they are huge and impressive and amazing. Any other questions before I get out our first friend?
So, Charles was saying, weren't Africans using poisoning bullets to kill vultures so that Africans can protect their livestock?
So it wasn't the vultures that they were trying to kill. It was other carnivores like lions and cheetahs and leopards, for example, because they were killing the livestock.
The live livestock.
The live livestock, yeah. So they were killing the cows, and as part of what they do, they'll leave and come back later. And so that was during that time frame. The farmers saw the dead cow, then put the poison on it.
Right. And the vultures are just eating the dead cow. They don't kill live things.
Yes. Dead cow, dead lion,
Yeah.
whatever dead animal. So that's why it's considered what's called secondary poisoning, because they weren't the ones initially poisoned.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready for our
We're good, yeah.
question?
We're on. We're going on.
All
I
right.
think you guys will like this next carnivore.
Oh yeah, this carnivore is amazing.
Some people like them, I guess. Not everybody.
Not everybody, but they're still pretty amazing.
They are. Absolutely.
Now, did we figure out which one this one was?
We'll find out when you bring them out. I forgot to look. Sorry, but I figure we know once we get them in hand, we can tell which one it is. I'm judging by the small bear, I'm guessing pogo. But I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time.
All right.
And it was right.
And you are right. Yes, it is Pogo, our African
Yay.
ball python. Woohoo!
He always likes to get up and close.
Yeah, he likes his close shots. So this is Pogo, our African ball python. Now, does anyone have a guess on how they get their prey? You've probably seen him or his roommate a couple times.
Oh, there you go.
They squeeze it.
Yeah, they squeeze it.
Or
So they are,
constrict it.
yeah, so they are constrictors, and that's kind of where they get the name ball and ball python.
Just gonna, sorry, Pogo. It's funny. It looks great and what I see, and then I look over there and it's really dark.
It's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
So they do. So let's do a really quick experiment. So I want you to take a breath, hold it, then take another one. Okay, hold it again.
I can't breathe.
Can you get any more? Nope. So you can take a breath now.
Whew.
Yeah, so what happens is, I'm gonna go one-handed with it to keep rolling.
Oops.
So what happens is they'll get a hold of their nice juicy rat mouse, whatever small mammal that they want to eat, and they squeeze. And when they take a breath, they squeeze some more, and they continue to squeeze until they stop breathing, which is kind of scary on one hand. On the other hand, it is kind of interesting. Not everyone agrees with that, so you can have your own thoughts on it.
Pretty efficient way.
Pretty efficient. So, any idea as to why they're called ball pythons? Because they don't have a ball shape on there. They look like they have little alien spots though.
I like the
but
ET.
ET.
ET phone home. I like the light on it. You can see how shiny they look. That light shines on them. Yeah.
Any ideas where he gets the name ball python?
Hey, Pogo. The
Wrap
drops
around
are-
tree.
They can kind of wrap around a tree. That's definitely a good idea. Any other ideas? Don't be afraid to answer. There's no such thing as
Nope, no judging.
no judging.
Because of the color.
Good
That's
guess.
definitely a good guess. Sometimes the color does play a part. Not in the case of this one, though, but
Pattern.
the pattern on the right track. Not quite the pattern now.
It's a good guess.
Yeah, definitely very good guesses.
They're wrapped
Oh.
in a ball shape around their prey.
We're
They
getting
do,
closer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do wrap around in a ball. Not necessarily when they have their prey, they do that too, but when they're scared, they'll wrap themselves up in a ball to hide.
With their head tucked in the middle.
Yep. Now, in this case, he's kind of used to being held by people, so he's not scared whatsoever. And I'm a nice hot tree
Mhm.
because it's pretty warm in here. So I certainly know how Nikki feels whenever she does it. So I'm pretty much just a nice warm tree for him. Now, these guys definitely play a part in the circle of life, not only just in Africa, but all over the world by keeping those rodent populations down and some small mammals too. Some of your larger species of snake will take care of larger mammals and prey, which helps kind of like with the lions keeping population control.
Mhm.
Because if there's too much of one thing, then there's not going to be enough food.
Too much of one thing is not always good, huh?
Nope, not always good. Now, buddy, you're not.
Unless
going
it's
to my-
chocolate. That's okay, right?
I have to say no.
I know. I wish.
I wish, but I would have to say no because I would probably
Yeah.
not do so hot with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
All right, does anyone have any questions on Mr. Pogo here while he's getting up for his glamour shot?
I think in Africa, he's actually, they call him a royal python too. They're so royal and beautiful.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty chill too. He's kind of a cool, laid back kind of snake.
Oh, I like this. How do you keep yourself from getting constricted?
Well, I'm awfully a whole lot bigger than what his mouth can hold.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably not going to try to come after me. Hang on.
Mhm.
No.
But he
I
does
mean,
have a good grip on you to hold on,
He
right?
does. He
Yeah.
does, but it's not really it's not really hard.
No.
It's just enough of a grip so that he doesn't have to worry about falling. Which I wouldn't let him fall, but no, since I'm way too big for him, he's not going to put up the effort to try to attack me or to squeeze me
Mhm.
because that's too much energy.
Honestly. So how old is he?
I want to say he's in his 20s now, right?
Mhm.
Now he's getting on up there, but these guys can live a bit longer, especially in captivity. So we'll probably have this nice, cool fellow for a good while, especially since he gets really good health care and free
Yeah.
food and everything like that. He's pretty much spoiled here.
Right. What kind of animals do pythons eat?
So they like small mammals. So there's rodents over there too. So rats, mice, probably some of your really small species like meerkats, maybe, depending on what they can get a hold of, pretty much.
Yeah.
But pretty much anything small, something that they can fit in their mouths.
Anything about their head size or slightly or
Oh, best
Around their
size
size
is
of it.
24.
Oh, he's
24.
24. Okay.
Okay.
I knew he was in his 20s.
yeah, she's got access to the correct.
I know. That's why
the
it's
correct
good to
age.
have her.
So we'll keep him.
All right. Any other questions
So
about
we
Mr.
have
Pogo?
how heavy is he?
He's not very heavy, but after a while, anything feels heavy to you. So
Mhm.
even Nikki can attest. 2 pound, less than 2 pound Tara can feel heavy.
Yes. After a
So
while.
I would say maybe a couple of few pounds.
I would say maybe 5-ish.
Yeah.
I think something like
He's
that.
not that heavy, like when you think about it, but after
Yeah.
a while, anything becomes heavy.
Because he is all muscle,
Yeah, he is definitely all muscle.
and muscle's heavy.
Beth
So-
said he's 4.37 pounds.
Goodness.
Look at that.
I love
I'm
when-
on it today.
I love when we get like the specifically. Okay, buddy.
How much does he eat a day?
So he actually does not eat every day. So it's every few days or so.
We
Um,
feed him
because it
about
takes-
once a week.
Yep. So it takes a while to digest everything. So he'll get a nice juicy rat or mouse or small chicken,
Mhm.
depending on what's on the menu for the day. And he pretty much takes about a week or so to digest it, and then he's ready for another one.
Right. 'Cause
Yeah, Steve said he gets a rat every week.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I know sometimes they change it up a little bit, but I guess
As
usually.
they
a
get
rat.
bigger, they get bigger piece, bigger
Mhm.
bigger rodents. All right. When did you get him? What's the story?
If I
When did
remember
we get
right,
him? You probably remember that. I don't remember.
well, if I remember right, and please feel free to correct me, panelists, wonderful panelists, Steve, Linda, Nikki, who's off camera. Wasn't he someone's pet before coming to us?
Think so.
Pogo was a donation.
Yes.
I was wanting to say he
somebody's
was
pet.
someone's pet, and they donated him.
And we've had him for a while.
Mhm.
I know I've been here in education for 7 years, and I think we've had him the whole time. So at
Mhm.
least 7 years he's been with
Yeah.
us. And I like this question. Does the color pattern are used to camouflage in trees?
It definitely is a good I can't talk today. Camouflage. If you remember, I think it was your program last week talked about, was it what's that specific phrase where the color is light on the bottom?
Oh, the counter shading.
The counter shading. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. I lost that phrase. It's counter shaded. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that would definitely help him blend in the trees, especially if he doesn't want to be eaten, because these guys can be eaten too. They're small enough for some of the larger carnivores who might want to eat them. Any other questions? And
We got
gonna
'em
go
all.
ahead and put him up.
You got them all.
All right.
Nice job. But I think a lot of your stricter snakes aren't. I mean, some of them will climb trees, but most of the time they like to stay on the ground. So that camouflage really helps them to blend on the forest floor. Is where I mostly find them.
Definitely does.
Yep.
Yeah, Steve
Oh, do snakes eat other snakes?
So this fella doesn't necessarily eat other snakes, but there are other snakes that do, like your king snakes, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Black rat snakes have been known to eat other snakes, especially copperheads. If you're thinking about around here, and of course, all over the world, there's always some kind of king snake.
Yep.
There's different species of king snakes, so they all kind of help keep some of the venomous snakes away. That's why, side note, you would want to keep king snakes and rat snakes around your house.
Yes, you do.
Oh,
I think it's yeah.
yeah, Steve said that Pogo was here before 2007.
Okay. So he's been with us for 13 years at least. Nice.
All right, so we've learned a few bits about carnivores, and we're going to move on to herbivores. But before we talk about herbivores on our African safari, I'm going to show you something. I want you to tell me, what do you notice different about them? So we know this one's a lion, and this one's an antelope. What do you notice that's different about them?
Horns.
The horns, yeah.
Mhm.
So this fellow does not have a horn.
Yep.
Or horns in this case. Horns.
Yep.
What else?
Oh, somebody says got teeth.
Yeah, the teeth are different, aren't there? Now this one looks kind of rough because it's wear and tear. But for the most part, they're flat, right? Compared to this fellow right here who has sharp. Any other differences?
The eyes.
The eyes. What's different about the eyes?
They're on the side.
Yeah, so these guys have their eyes on this side for a reason. So we're going to get into that with our first friend on the herbivore side, who has fur like this. Here we go.
Yeah.
Zebra.
There we go.
Yep, it is a zebra. So, Beth, if you can share the picture of a zebra. And so zebra, they have their eyes on the side for a good reason. Because what do they eat? I think I've seen it.
Plants.
Plants.
Yep.
Yeah, plants.
Vegetation.
So if you can come back to me, Beth. Yeah, so they do like eating plants. They like eating the tough grasses of the savanna. And even here at the zoo, our zebra eat the tough grasses as well, which is really cool because not a lot of other plant-eating animals like eating that. And so by eating that, it helps clear up the space for the other grasses to come up, which allows other animals to eat, which they're just eating on their own. And they help other animals by doing it, which is pretty cool. So you notice they do have the flat teeth. Now, why would they need flat teeth?
Grinding.
Yeah,
There
to
you
grind.
go.
So they need to chew the grasses and everything down so that they can digest it. Kind of like when we eat grass, any kind of plant, we have to chew. Which when we have to eat anything, we have to chew too. But that helps us break it down so that it's easier for us to swallow. In this case, for the zebra, it's the same thing. Also be able to better digest the grasses, which is really cool. All right. Our next herbivore is probably one you may or may not have heard of, but they're just far too amazing, personally, to not talk about. Right. Any ideas as to who this fellow is? Besides a massive animal. He's pretty massive.
Big deer.
Gazelle.
So.
Not on the right track. They're kind of in the same family, but this one's a whole lot bigger than gazelle.
Impala.
Impala, you're on the right track. Maybe seeing some vermeil.
Antelope.
Antelope, yep, it is a species of antelope. It's called a bongo. Not to be confused with the drake. So, Beth, can you show the picture of the bongo so they know what they're...
She said that it locked up. She's restarting.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Okay, well, bongos are simply amazing. So they were forest-dwelling antelope. And they get to about 5 feet tall, sometimes a little bit bigger depending on
Oh,
the species.
we got it. There you go. So pretty.
So there's a bongo. They're simply amazing. And so the baby one's on the bottom. That's what a baby looks like. And then that one is an adult on the top. But of course, if you can come back to me, Beth, you notice the horns are a little bit different on this one than on the other one. And that's due to age. So the older they get, the longer their horns get. And so to the point where they'll cross paths with each other, like this one was about ready to cross paths, which is really cool. What's even cooler is these guys will actually tilt their head back while they're walking through the forest because they don't want their horns to get stuck. And when they do that, they actually create paths for other animals to walk through, especially with the thick brush and dense forests that they have in Africa. It's kind of hard to go through it. So these guys unintentionally, by just doing what they normally do, create paths for other animals, which is really cool. Now, looking on their eyes, you notice their eyes are on the side too. Why would they need their eyes on the side?
Security.
Security, yeah. So unlike us, when we look out, if you can hold out your arms, and you can kind of see your hands for about maybe 180 degrees at most. We can move our head 90 degrees each side because we have our eyes up front, allows us to see how far things are. Well, these guys don't necessarily need that because plants don't move. So these guys need to see where their predator is coming so they can run and know what direction to run in. So these guys can actually see about 180 degrees on both sides, which is really cool and amazing. All right. And these guys are part of a program here at the zoo to help bring up the population of these guys because they're have been hunted for trophies. And that's part of the same thing with our last herbivore. I'm gonna take your advice on this one. Who has a tooth this big?
A tooth?
A tooth.
A tooth. Wow.
It is a tooth.
Elephant.
Yeah, man, you guys are good. Was it Charles?
Look at them all.
It was Karen first.
Oh,
Okay.
Karen got it. Nice job.
Yes. So you guys are simply amazing. It is an elephant. So this is just one tooth out of 4 teeth they have in their mouth. And that is not including the test. So this is actually a tooth too. But it is not being used to chew. It's used for other purposes. Any ideas of what other purposes there are? What would they need their tusks for?
Like somebody knew that it was an incisor. Nice.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. I feel like they should be teaching this.
I know. Some of them could. Absolutely. What are our answers there, Donna? What do we got?
Scratching, defense, spear food, to defend themselves.
Yeah, so they do all of that and also use their tusks to create pathways as well. Because as they're walking through, they're using their tusks and their bodies to remove things in their way. So like the bongo, they help by making tracks and pathways. Not only that, but with their poop. Oh no, it's frozen. There we go. They help fertilize other plants and help with seed dispersal and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool and amazing.
I get a close up. Give him a
Close
close up of the poop. I will highlight the poop. There we go. Woo! What other place can you get a close up of a poop? Come on.
Now, of course, this is just a small piece of poop because they poop about 100 pounds a day each individually. But unfortunately, you guys probably already know that elephants are endangered. And one part of the problem is they have somewhat of a terrible relationship with farmers because you see a farm full of plants, and what do you think elephants see? Food, all you can eat buffet.
Absolutely.
And so farmers are not very happy with that. But the zoo actually went and helped with that. So Beth, if you could show that picture. So cute elephant. Probably not the best elephant picture. There you go. Elephant tracking. So they actually put little collars on
Oh, I don't call them little.
They're not little, no, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. But they put a collar on the matriarch because it is a matriarchal society, meaning it's female-led.
Woohoo! Go
So girl
girls!
power. And so they always follow the matriarch. All the girls follow it. So they actually study where they went during the year, tracked them, and they realized there were certain times of the year they were in one place and certain times of the year they were in the other place. And they shared that information with the farmers so that they knew when the best time was to plant their crops, which is simply amazing. And I think there's one other picture, maybe. Here.
There she goes.
Here we go.
Well, Steve says the collar is going to be 5 to 6 feet across.
Dang,
That's how
yeah.
big they are.
Yeah, they are massive. So
Yeah.
I guess little is not
Yeah.
the best descriptor of
And
that.
if you come to the zoo, there's a really cool where we have our helicopter and kind of a hangar. You can actually see one of those collars and just see how big that is.
Mhm. And if you can come back to me, Beth, real quick. Wonderful.
There she is.
So another thing we're doing is we're actually selling these things. And you can show-
Hippos?
It's a hippo. Yep, it's a hippo. We're selling hippos. It's little figurines. Now, would you believe me? I told you because it looks a lot like this, right? That it's made of a nut. Probably not, right? But it is. So it's made of a tagua nut. It's like this. And when you carve into it, it looks like ivory, which is what elephant tusk is turned into when you carve into it. And so this not only helps save elephants, but it helps save the Amazon rainforest because they're found in South America. And you give an income to the people who make it. So you're doing a lot just for buying one little thing, which is really cool. And so they're trying to make this the new what's called vegetable ivory to replace old ivory stuff.
Or elephant-friendly ivory.
It is elephant-friendly ivory, yeah. Or different phrases for that. So get your own little hippo when you come to the zoo.
Or any other animal.
Or
They have
any other
lots of different
animal. Yeah,
animals.
because I think I got my mom a cat of some sort.
Oh yeah, yeah, lots of different critters they got.
It's amazing. All right. So we're almost done with our African safari because we talked about carnivores and herbivores. There's one other major group we need to talk about.
What did we miss? Which one did we miss?
What did we miss?
I don't. Oh, there we go. Charles knows.
He's like, I know.
Omnivore.
There you
Yeah,
go.
the
And Karen too.
omnivores. So this one, you probably wouldn't realize it, but this fella right here is an omnivore. You know what kind of animal this is?
Warthog.
You're very close. They're cousins to the warthog, so it's not Pumbaa specifically, but this is a red river hog. We have them here at the zoo. They're right next door to our lions. So if you want to see our girls here, and they are actually omnivores.
Oh, and we have a picture. There you are.
Because they're cute and amazing. Now, one of the coolest things about these guys is you notice their ears. Are they long or are they short? Big, wide, short? What do they look like? Are they big or small?
Wow.
Yeah, they're long. And this is the amazing part because their absolute favorite food lives underground. And they can hear it. Anyone guess what their favorite food is?
Lives underground.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think they make noise, but apparently they do.
Mice.
Mice, you're on the right track, but think smaller.
Grubs.
Grubs, yeah. So if you can come back to that. Yeah, so grubs, any sort of insect, worms, they can actually hear them underground. And that's part of what makes them an omnivore. Because remember earlier we talked about how prey items or meat are pretty much anything, any animal living or dead. So that includes bugs too. So these guys are main insectivores, but they do also eat plants as well. So if you ever look at our habitat here at the zoo, you'll see it looks like a war zone half the time because they're digging around for their food. And they use these really cool tusks because they're tusks too, like on an elephant. They come from the mouth to help dig along with their noses and to defend themselves as well. So they kind of have some sharp teeth up front, and then they have the flat teeth on the side, kind of like us. So our teeth are not really sharp up front anymore because we have thumbs. We can cut things.
So Madeline wants to know: are they cousins to warthogs?
They are. So they're they're cousins to each other. These guys are a little bit smaller than the warthog, though. Warthogs are a bit bigger, and they don't quite have the same coloring. These guys are red. They're gingers.
Hence the Red River Hog.
It's red river hogs. Unlike the warthog, which has a little bit of a darker coloring to them. This is really cool. Now you notice their eyes are on the side too, kind of like our herbivores. Why do you think their eyes would be on the side?
What are they hunting? My question. What are they hunting? The house. That's a good hint.
Yeah. Is there anything they really need to hunt with?
Stuff do they need to chase stuff down? All right.
Watch out for predators.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, to watch out for predators because worms are not going to be super fast. Neither are their plants. Foods, so.
Right.
All right, so we are ready for our last animal round.
Oh, and by the way,
Okay, so Nikki's going to be coming into the frame because she is going to be our holder of our last friend. Oh, sorry. Come on.
Talk amongst yourself.
Because you will love this fella right here. You might have seen her before.
Yeah, double glove. Somebody's on about the gloves.
Yeah, you got a double glove.
Keeping everybody safe.
critters in. All that time of day, this time of year. All right, Kitty, ready to come out? Oh, you were napping, huh? What you did? Oh, I was napping.
All right, so our last friend is kind of like our Red River Hog, in that they're omnivores.
And I got hot in the name.
And they have hog in their name, yeah.
There you go. All right, goodness.
So of course these guys, or this gal in this case, really likes her bugs.
Let's see if she'll take it for it. There we go.
All right, does anyone know what she is?
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. Yum. I don't know if you guys can hear this.
Yeah, I can hear it from here. Yeah, well, hedgehog. Yes, she is super adorable. So she is an African pygmy hedgehog. And she is a major
Oh, she's
insectivore.
not done yet.
No, she's not done.
Apparently she's very hungry.
She said, I just took a nap, so I need all the food I can get.
Okay, well, we gotta see some for your ride home, sweetie.
She's like, but
But I like it. It's
I
good.
like it. It's
You
really
wanna say
good.
hi?
So these guys are ones you would not find in the wild. They have pretty much been bred to be pets for people, but they originally, their ancestors, so to speak, were African hedgehogs of some sort. So they, were bred and turned, and eventually they became these little pygmy hedgehogs.
Mhm.
But this is Miss Waffles. And
Right,
she
Nathan?
sometimes shows her face, sometimes
There
she
she is.
doesn't. You're like, oh, hi.
You have to wipe her nose print off the lens again.
Well, let's not forget it.
Yeah.
I think we forgot the last time she did
Yep.
that. So you notice she's sniffing around. Do you know how she knows what food is, or do you think she just to help her find her favorite food insects?
Oop, freezing out.
Oh yeah, definitely super cute, really cute. She is amazingly cute. So how does she find her prey?
She's showing a pretty good
Example.
example of it. Oop, where's that
sniffer?
one?
Yep, her sniffer, and I love
Sorry.
that word
Yeah,
sniffer.
put it down.
I love that phrase sniffer. That is my official scientific phrase for a sniffer. Yes, she uses her nose to help her find her favorite food, worms, but she will also eat other grains and grasses and things, but mostly she likes bugs.
Mhm.
Now, one thing to note, she's adorable and super cute, but her favorite time to be active is at night.
Mhm.
So be prepared. It's kind of like hamsters and gerbils and any others like that. Spinning wheels are going to be running all night.
Mhm.
So be aware if you ever decide you want one,
Okay.
that it's going to be noisy. Another thing to note is what she covered in. Yep, she does definitely look so cute eating. Spines. Yeah, she has some spines. Now, right
Lots of
now, she
spines.
seems pretty chill, but
If you notice, what am I wearing?
now, right now, she's kind of relaxed and not scared or anything, but when she is scared, those spines definitely come up and it would hurt. So the only area that she doesn't have those spines is on her belly.
So right now they're laying kind of flat backwards, so that's she's relaxed. But if she was scared, they'd be sticking straight up and makes them 100 times more pokey.
And that's part of why Nikki is wearing those gloves in case she does get scared for whatever reason. Nikki will not get hurt.
Right. Really no blood from Nikki today.
No blood from Nikki, please. Does anyone have any questions about her? Miss Waffles?
So your fans are this way.
She's like, but I want them to see my good side.
She wants the food.
Got you. It's like, I'm here.
This way. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. I'm up front. I can't.
How long do they live and how heavy? That's definitely a really good question. So they live about maybe 3-4 years,
Yeah.
depending on how
possibly.
healthy they are.
Yeah. Not
And
very long lived.
no, unfortunately not. And she's maybe about
She's
a
a little
pound.
wiggly. I'm gonna put her back.
Okay. So she's about a pound, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe at
not
most-
quite, somewhere around
Maybe
there.
at most a pound, probably a lot less than that. So where does she sleep? So she actually has her own she has her own little area behind the scenes where she has a bigger home than this. This is just her little travel.
She's got a penthouse suite, this girl.
She does, yeah. She has that penthouse suite of hers. What you see her in right now is just her little travel carriage. We're gonna go with the carriage because she's royalty in it. Let's see. So is she nocturnal because of predators or prey? That's definitely a good question. So what do you guys think? Is it because of predators trying to come after her? Is that why she's nocturnal? Or is it because her food item is more active at night?
Or both.
Or both? Which one do you think? So Beth said she is about 1.35 pounds.
Okay.
So she's a little chunker, but I feel her. Both and both. Yeah, and you're right. So it is both. Part of it's because some of the bigger predators are not as active at night, the ones that would eat her, and then the rest of the time it's because her prey, the little bugs, are more active then. Because it's cooler, so makes it a lot easier. Though in this case, since she is born to be a pet, it could just be residual ones from the hedgehogs that were her ancestors.
Yep. So they have. Can they stick their quills to people like porcupines?
So can they stick?
Squick.
Whew, can't talk today. Stick their quills like porcupines. So they actually don't shoot out quills or spines, like what a lot of times TV and movies and all that kind of stuff make it out to be. But they will stick into people, and because their hair, because this is from this is from Kelly, or porcupine, or king porcupine, one similar to her.
Yeah.
So this one's from a porcupine, but it's modified hair, so they can regrow them. So you could probably get them stuck in you if you touched her and
Really
got
hard.
away. They'll get stuck in you, but she's not going to shoot them out.
No, they don't release them as like porcupines do. So theirs is a little bit different. But they do shed them, kind of like we'd shed our hair. So if there's one that was loose, it could easily get stuck in you, but not so much. They tend to keep theirs a little bit different. So does she make noise if something touches her?
I've heard her make little noises,
Uh-huh.
but she's not as noisy, I guess, as other animals could be.
Yeah.
But she can make some noises.
Yes, she does.
Are there any other questions about her?
Or any of our African animals.
Or any other of the animals we talked about today?
Let's see anything, nothing
All
yet, but
right.
you never know. They might have a long question. They're still
All right.
typing.
All right, so I'm going to go on ahead and start talking, but if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them. But we went on a really cool African safari today, and we learned, even though we talked about just a few, we learned that they all are interconnected. They're all their actions, even though they don't mean to, they're doing their own little thing, help each other, which is really cool and amazing. Now, a lot of these African animals that we talked about today and some of the others we didn't talk about, they need some help. What are some things you guys think we can do to help them?
That was somebody's question. How do we help African animals? So perfect timing.
Oh, hey,
Perfect timing,
man,
Karen.
you must have read my mind. But what are some things you think we can do to help?
Not littering.
Not littering, yeah, that definitely helps anything, any animal. Here's the next one. Okay, let's see.
I think it's just the spelled littering.
No, I feel you.
Sometimes to protect their home.
Protect their home, yeah.
Mhm.
Donate to animal rescue.
There you
Donate to
go.
animal rescues. Oh my goodness. What did Charles say?
He said, if things get real bad, and people have to resort to cannibalism, Remember, vegans first. They are the closest thing to grass fed.
Oh, hopefully that will never happen.
Somebody was asking, can we keep hedgehogs as pets?
The African pygmy hedgehogs were bred to be pets. They're definitely not the best pets out there, but they are, pets. But you do have to keep in mind that, they can get sick really easily. Some of them have issues genetically. They don't live as long, and they're very noisy at night. So if you still want to go through with that, then try to find a really good.
Yeah. Just like we tell everybody, research. Do your
Research.
research. Find out if it would work for you.
Any other ideas?
How many baby does a hedgehog have at a time?
I think it's like 1 or 2.
I'm not 100% sure. A few.
Because it's not that many.
No, I don't think so.
And while she's looking for that answer, there is one thing you can do that's really, really easy. All you have to do is come to the zoo. Because here at the zoo, a portion of your ticket sales goes into our conservation programs, which includes programs to help elephants, to help rhinos, to help giraffes, and to help all other sorts of animals, which is really amazing. And all you have to do is show up. Really easy, right? All you have to do is come.
4 to 5 young for a baby.
So 4
for
to 5
hedge.
babies. Okay.
Yep, sorry.
No, you're fine. No, so all you have to do is just come to the zoo. That's one of the easiest things you can do. Of course, all the other ideas you guys had are amazing as well, and I'm sure we could spend all afternoon talking about different things we can do to help. Does anyone have any other ones they want to share before we finish for today? Or any questions?
I think we're good on this end.
All right, well, we had an amazing African safari today, so I'm going to take off my pit hat and say have a wonderful afternoon.